Aloha from the Capillo. Today we're going inside your own Koa gallery to meet David Belke and look at some pieces from artists around Honolulu. I'm Austin Dolan. I'm here with David Belke.
The gallery guy.
The gallery guy, curator and director of Koa Gallery.
Right.
Welcome, David.
Hi. It's art, not wood. People think we sell wood here at the Koa Gallery, but we're named after native trees and plants.
All right.
So, yeah.
Makes sense. Can you tell us a little bit about the gallery, kind of your mission here?
Well, the mission of the gallery is an extension of the classroom. And people are surprised when we show mostly professional work, but that's what we want our young artists to become, professionals. Once a year, we have a big gala student show. It's always the last show of the year. It's always the most popular. And parents and family and boyfriends and girlfriends and brothers and sisters and cousins all show up. It's a great party.
Neat.
Yeah.
Awesome. So it's kind of like something that students can aspire to right on campus.
Exactly. And we do show student artwork in the 220 grill next to the cafeteria. And I show some student artwork from time to time in the Llama Library.
And I can tell art kind of just pours out onto the campus.
It exudes. You know you're in the art area when you're walking around and you see the torso of a 60-year-old woman that has been cast and fit into chunks of lava.
Yeah.
Karen Lucas. You know you're here. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the artists that you're featuring now in the Koa?
Sure. We're featuring the paintings of Ka-Ning Fong. Ka-Ning is in love with evening, dusk, and sunrise, but I think he's more alert at dusk than he is at sunrise. And so he paints things that most people would pass by without thinking twice of their aesthetic value or their intrinsic beauty. And because of the really evocative light that he has going, he pulls off these romantic interpretations of our urban setting at the ocean's edge. So he does a lot of rose color. He's picking up on the rose of the painting, and then he's picking up of the lights in the parking lot. And the title of this is Under Reconstruction, and so there's a pile of building materials that probably will be discarded. And this looks like it's like some kind of elevator that's going to take workers up to the exteriors of the buildings. And then he likes to play on reflection and not only dusk kind of light, but then the reflected light of the city. And he's been doing this for years, and one of his old teachers from graduate school at the university said he gets better every year. So we're glad to have it. Ka-Ning Fong.
It's scary almost how realistic some of the colors and reflections are.
Yeah. Well, it's open to our interpretation too as the viewer.
Yeah. So. Actually walking in here for the first time and looking at one of the paintings, there's a sun just coming up, like a breaking sun, and it almost instinctively I squinted just because of the colors.
See, that's good. He's getting through to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And then we have Shigeru Miyamoto. His friends call him Shige, and he teaches ceramics and sculpture out at Leeward Community College. Ka-Ning teaches part-time at the university, and he has a day job in downtown Honolulu. And then he has a dedicated studio that he's had for at least 15 years that I know of, near the canal, and maybe even near where he picks up some of the images. Should we look at something else?
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the pottery.
Okay, yeah, great. I'm going to do, if you come to my gallery, you cannot do this because we have a do not touch policy. But since I'm the director, I'm going to give myself dispensation, and I'm going to pick this up because I want the camera to really zero in on this. So here's a female figure. She's bald with these little, I don't know, electrodes coming out of her skull. And her face looks in two directions. So one eye, which is smaller, looks out at you in one direction. The other eye looks out in the opposite direction. And then her chin and her mouth are skewed to one side. And then I'm going to place this back up here because I want Austin to come and I want to see the texture. Austin, see if you can get the texture of her garment there. Because it's as if this, when the clay is wet, it's as if the clay has been pressed into a fabric or some texture that then gets transferred into the clay. And then he shapes it and adheres it probably with some slip, which is very thin water clay, and it holds it all together until he can get it into the kiln. And he bakes it once without the, up here on the head, without any glaze. Then he bakes it again for the cape that's around the woman. And where are the arms? We don't even miss them, really. Do you miss them? I don't miss them. Right, and then to get this low fire glaze, that's fired at a different temperature. So first he has to take the raw clay, let it dry, make it into bisqueware, that's the first firing. Then he has to add the cape, the garment around her shoulders. That's fired at a separate temperature. And then he has to fire the low fire glaze at yet another temperature. So this is in the kiln at least 3 times. And so it gets to be complex. Let's see if we just pan down here, because I like the gestures that all of these little figurines give us. Is this guy an actor? It says, caught in the fog. What's the fog? Is the fog atmospheric? Is the fog from on top of the volcanoes in Hawaii? Where is it coming from? We don't know. It's as if he's in a daze. And his hands are very cartoon-like. They're over-exaggerated, as if he's wearing gloves. And I like all of these different little worlds that he creates. This next one is a self-portrait. And I don't know if Shige really smokes a lot of cigars, but he's smoking a cigar. And I'm going to turn him around here because he's of the electronic age. And we have this little connection point on the back of the skull, which I really like. And the skull isn't really the shape of the head because you have a lot more going on in the back of your brain. But they look like Mr. Potato Heads. But it doesn't matter. He's distorting on purpose. And he's distorting for expression, and he's distorting for humor. Or maybe he's distorting for pathos, because this man is really open. Is it a man? I don't know. I'm just assuming. And then we have this other little figure with this tiny little baseball cap on top of his head and stubby little arms. And then while the clay is still wet, it's just molded around and with a little slip held in place. Or Mr. Blockhead over there on the end, when will I ever learn? And these are reasonably priced, maybe not for students, but most of these little figures, our heads, are priced at $350 here in 2013. And so his teaching experience comes through, but his state of mind about the human condition always comes to bear in his works when he's working in this fashion. And we're talking about 2 men who are no longer, young whippersnappers. These guys have been active in the local art scene here in Honolulu in the state of Hawaii for 30 or 40 years now. And they just keep getting better, and that's what I like about the situation. I think we should look at some of the other, if Austin has time, we'll look at a couple other Honolulu scenes and a couple scenes from Paris that Ka-Ning likes to go to. And this is something that I love in Ka-Ning Fong's work, is that he plays upon reflections. And so here we see the reflected inside of a bus, and none of these columns come in front of our point of view. So he's close to the window, and things that look like the bus structure are really the reflection into the exterior window. So we see all the seats as a reflection. We see the woman, and she's got a laptop or some personal device in her lap. She's looking down. The light bounces up into her head. And then we see the exterior, and we see that here's a night establishment, open, it's open. And what I like is what is suggested, things that aren't overexpressed. Like, how does this sign get reflected to the interior of the bus? How does this sign get reflected? But if it's on the exterior of the glass, then we have a reason for that to be there. There's another vague passenger up here. The light is that yellow, and then unexplained bits of light in here, and a car off in the distance. So I like this pseudo sense of distance, and I like the illusion that he's playing off of. Then we're just going to move down one more painting, because one of the great cities of the world, Ka-Ning really likes to explore at night. And these are cityscapes of Paris. And if he doesn't get his Paris fix every decade, I think and he might be due for a trip now, he takes his camera and documents, walks around at night. And Austin and I were talking about that Woody Allen film, A Night in Paris, and I could see Ka-Ning Fong fitting right into that movie. He likes signage, he likes neon, he likes street lights, he likes the sense that the night light in the city gives, a warm kind of yellow light. Sometimes it's rosy, sometimes it's yellow, sometimes it's orange. And then if he puts in the sky, and if you look at this, we get a sense of irradiated light. And I can't remember if I've ever seen a sky that is quite that neon blue. So sometimes he exaggerates the color, but it's for the overall end effect, because this blue is now bouncing off the yellow. So I'll invite you all to just come to the Koa Art Gallery. We change our shows every month, every 4 to 5 weeks. The student show is always the very end of the year, a couple of weeks before graduation. And you can tell I'm really shy talking about art, so bring all your questions in, and I'll be glad to have some kind of small conversation about art with you. That's my mission, to get art out into the public's eye. Thanks, Austin.
This has been an inside look at the Koa Gallery at Kapi'olani Community College. Thanks for watching.